Debs Cooper, global stressologist. Thank you for joining me. Here we go. Another live video. This time, do you dob people in or not? Waha! Just even that is causing a little bit of chaos in my head. I've had some stuff going on lately and I'm just like, oh, do I do this? Do I not? And my whole head fury has been going on purposely around this, do I dob people or not? So I started to write some notes on what's working for me and what's not. And I went, I'm going to share this. Oops, one of my phones went, don't know what that one is. So thank you for joining me. Drop in the chat if you're here for a replay, if you're here live, that's awesome. And I'm going to give you some tips. So grab a note-taking device, pen, paper, whatever it works for you. My tips today are literally going to be in no particular order. So even when I think, do you dob people in or not? I got a message saying, what's dobbing people in? It's like narking on people. You know, narking on people, telling on people. And even that, going back from where we were as a young child, do we, my sister hit me, the whole victim mentality, poor me, whether it's true or not. And I think of Darby on that one, what he used to do to his sister. You little minx, you. So do you narc on people? Do you dob them in? Do you tell on them? And at what level do you actually do this? So I want to give you a couple of pain things that happen if you don't deal with it. So there's going to be guilt. And when I talk about guilt, there's actually guilt for dobbing people in and guilt for not dobbing people in. And then there's regret. I dobbed them in, I shouldn't have, or I regret not doing it for certain reasons. Even just like cars, I'm forever ringing the police if I'm out and about and a car's overtaking me on a corner. Like, I really don't care. But there's certain things that I'm like, no, that's not cool. You can't do that here. Or you're driving at 60 and you're all over the road and it's supposed to be 100. Whatever it is, there are times I will do it. And then there'll be times I don't. So do I lie in bed at night and think, oh, I wonder what happened to those people? No, I don't. I literally move on from it. The other one is, the other pain that you can get from this is a fear of repercussion. And when I talk about a repercussion, fear of your family telling you off or your co-worker's not working to you, there's fear of that. I'm going to get in trouble if I don't. And then there's the big one, which is the moral dilemma. And I actually think the moral dilemma is the heavier one because I feel morally obligated, a care of duty to people out there to tell on people for certain things. So just check in with that. There's the three ones there. But I had to laugh because when I was telling a friend the other day about this, she said, are you a knob if you dob? And I was like, oh. So are you a knob if you dob? Let's get into these tips. There's a thing called karma, and I'm not going to go down the thing, but the journey of karma, what karma means, and because karma to you means something to me, which means something different to somebody else. We all have our own perception of karma, if you believe in karma. And then there's some who don't believe in karma. So I want you to know there is a karma bus. I don't want you driving that karma bus. That's all I'm going to say about karma is don't drive the karma bus. Don't go to bed at night and wish that something happens to them or any of that stuff. Just pull your head in. You do not need to drive the karma bus. Okay, that's the only one there. The next two I'm going to say is your intention. So what is your intention of advising people of what these people have done? What's your intention? So you want to make sure you've got an outcome in your mind. I'm going to tell them on because I want them to lose their job. I'm going to tell them because I want them arrested, or I'm going to tell them because I want them to lose their title or whatever. Be careful of what your intention is, because your intention may come from a past story. They've done this, they've done this, they've done this, and now after the 10th time, I'm done. Just be aware of your intention and the outcome you want to happen. Is it from an a-hole place? Or is it from a centered heart place that you're concerned about people? Because if it's coming from an a-hole place, you're just jumping in front of that karma bus. You're literally going to be the driver of a crazy train crash that's going to happen. So get clear of what your intention is before you even consider dobbing someone in or narking on somebody. Everyone will have an opinion with you. If you ask me, I will give you a different opinion than if you asked your partner, or you asked your colleague, or you asked your children, or if you ask a teacher, or if you ask a mentor, or your parents. We all have our past stories. So everyone's reactions or opinions can be different. And if you're trying to recruit people into your bus, don't even do that either, because this is yours and yours alone. So keep your eyes open to people having an opinion. Just know that people don't always agree with your decisions, because really they don't. They don't. So be prepared for the potential criticism or pushback or whatever it is. So have certainty in yourself. If you've come up with that intention, if you're aware you're not driving the karma bus, if you go, actually, this is what I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to somebody else in the industry, then okay, that's a different one. But if you're like, they're an a-hole, they're this, and this, you're going to flop in your voice when you go and talk to people about this. So have certainty in your decision and stick to it. You only really interject when there's, they only interject, when there's a level of uncertainty in you. If you just have this little gap, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, I don't know if I should be doing this, and you've got that, you will have people who have an opinion on you. But if you go, no, this is true to me, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I can see, so you say no, and you're going to be true to yourself, that's it. No one else will have an opinion or a decision for you, because you've made that own decision and it feels right for you. People only interject when you have a little small amount of, I don't know if this is the right thing. I don't know if this is the right thing. The other thing I'm going to say is about your integrity. Excuse me, because I want you to stay true to your integrity, but actually your integrity, not the integrity that your parents brought you up in, not the integrity that your last partner was with, or the current partner, or your colleague, or whatever. It has to feel right for you. So regardless of the outcome of whatever you say or dobbing them in or whatever, you must act in a way that aligns and feels right for your soul. And that's for your personal and professional ethics. You want to make sure when you're doing it, it actually feels right. Not from an a-hole way. Because if you decide not to report it, if you decide not to say anything, just ensure that your reasons are based on consideration rather than a fear of convenience. Consideration over convenience. Be transparent. So be honest with others about your decision-making process. If you're going to dob, if you're going to share something that they're doing, something you don't like, tell them, this is where I've been sitting, this is what I'm thinking. So, but also be aware that when you give that to somebody, you report them in, they may not take it like you've taken it. Again, other people's reactions, other people's opinions, they have their past stories that they've been dealing with. There's a point in communication, and when I think about communication, it's wise to get the right moment that feels right for you. So timing is totally everything. You can't just dump stuff on somebody just before they go to bed. You can't just dump stuff on somebody when they're about to go on stage. You can't just dump stuff on somebody, because their reaction is not going to be the reaction that you want. Their reaction is not going to be the reaction. So pick a moment when you can actually both come together and have a centered and balanced discussion. But again, remember what your intention is. And when you're talking, you can say things like, I've seen something doesn't make me feel right, or I've noticed so-and-so's doing something and it just is going to have a back flack for us later on. Or in my opinion, I see so-and-so doing something and I just have a feeling it's going to be damage to our organization. So you're actually not blaming them, you're just putting your opinion on it. You're not blaming them or anything, you're just putting your opinion. Like, I just feel a little bit uncomfortable because this is going to happen or whatever. So just ask yourself if this is actually how the conversation is going to go. When you're asking yourself this stuff, I want you to assess it. And I would like you to look at it and go, okay, is this a one-off? This is a one-off. Okay, then maybe you don't need to address it. But if it's continuous, maybe it's time. How many more continuous times do you need to make people accountable to stuff? There's a saying, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. And the truth is, you can put lipstick on all of this, you can sprinkle in the glitter, but it's still dark and heavy way down underneath. So sometimes no lipstick actually works and just goes straight in. So just check if this is repeated or if it's a one-off. Even if it's a one-off, you can still address it and go, hey, I noticed you did this morning, or hey, I noticed that there was some stuff going on. is there intention of that happening again? Or was that an error? Or like, so you actually have to have that conversation, not confrontation, that conversation. Now, there's a word starting with C, and it's a heavy word. It's called consequences. And even that makes me go, oh, the consequences are going to be far outweigh the actually dobbing in, so I'm just not going to. So there are consequences, and I'm not going to tell you to make a decision because of the consequences. I'm going to tell you, be aware, open your eyes again to the consequences, because your partner, if you're reporting your partner or somebody intimate and close to you, there's going to be a consequence that's going to happen. You are going to get the blame. You are going to cop that stuff. So be aware of consequences, but also see if you can change that to a potential outcome. Like, think about what's going on, think about everything, and be aware that there might be a disciplinary action, there might be a job loss, they might lose money, there might be this, there might be something, it might be more and more and more, and they're going to bring it up. So you've got to balance that potential chaos against the need to uphold ethical standards. And I say ethical standards because these are above the line, above line, below line, bed, or in bed. This is above the line. Try and keep yourself above the line. 4 agreements. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your words. I can't remember the other 2. Yeah, I'll put them in the chat. I know that. I can't think what they are now. The other one is self-reflection. And the tip I'm giving you about self-reflection is evaluate what you're thinking. Evaluate what you're thinking. So after it's happened, go, ooh, do I need to change things? Could I have done this differently? What could I do that would have changed the dynamics of this? Now that's if it went chaotic. If it went amazing, you go, okay, could I have done this earlier? Is it best to do it now? Did I do everything in the right way that feels right for me, that allows you to sleep at night? Because you're the one who has to sleep at night with the decisions you make, not anyone else. You have to take accountability to your sleep pattern, to your eat pattern, to your mood pattern, because it feels right for you. So reflection is a great one, just to pull back and go, oh, did I do this in the way that works for me? Did I do this in the way that is best outcome for the organization? Did I do this in a way that actually they're just a jerk? They're just a flippin' jerk and I want them gone. Oh, so then you're driving on that karma bus again, you're jumping in that truck, that bulldozer to do that. So just check in with yourself and see if you did it right in your mind and your heart, and would you change anything about it? So think how if it came up again, would you handle it differently? Because we know that when something happens, there's a big explosion somewhere. We go, oh, if only I'd said that, if only I'd done that, I could have done that, I should have done that. And you have that whole thing. So the key is to continue to up level in our world, personal, professional, whatever it is. So continue to up level yourself and keep yourself above the line so that you can live a more fulfilling and guilt-free life. The other one is, my tip is, don't over process. And when I say don't over process, make a decision and then do it. Make a decision, do it, and then walk away from that decision. And when I say walk away, make the decision, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell the people, and then I'm going to walk away from that decision. I'm not going to go, oh, I should have done it this way. Could have done it this way. Oh, I'm such a bad person. Why did I do this? You know how I talk about reflection? So make that decision and move on. You can definitely look back on it, like I just said, but don't let it dwell on you. Don't let it go chaotic in your mind. Tony Robbins, I went to Tony Robbins in 2018, 19, and it was an interesting time for me. But one of the beautiful things I got out of it was he used the word not a worthy opponent. Not a worthy opponent. And it allows him, he said, that he doesn't have to engage with everybody. He can go, you know what, they're not a worthy opponent. They're not going to hear my message. They're not going to see my message. They're not going to understand. There's no point in me doing it. It's like keyboard warriors. I also use the reference of wet noodle. Who's actually tried to push a wet noodle? And in the end, you just go, flick. You flick it off you because it sticks, it's stuck. You know, it's like a wet noodle. I have people who come to me and they say stuff and I'm listening to them and I'm like, oh, wet noodle. Now, that's not disrespectful to them. I don't tell them they're a wet noodle, by the way. Maybe my face tells them. I don't go, wet noodle, I'm not engaging with you. Not a worthy opponent again. I just go, my time and energy is wiser to walk away or just listen to this, because they're not going to hear what I'm going to hear. 2020 was a perfect time. You can say not a worthy opponent, wet noodle. A lot of people were listening to certain things. A lot of people weren't listening. There was a lot of people who had opinions, and it was just like, okay, I'm just going to stay in what feels right for me, and I'm going to choose my own opinion on life. So not a worthy opponent. A wet noodle will stop you from fighting with those keyboard warriors, verbally or the rest of it. And my last tip is, guess who I'm going to suggest to connect with? Me. Again, I'm going to say connect with me, because I will give you a different perspective, and help you see angles you may have missed. I've given you these tips here. They're definitely going to help you. But if you're starting to process things in your own way and you feel like you're going on a tangent and you're like a runaway dog on a lead, then connect with me, because I don't want you to spend 24 hours on a decision that's not making you sleep or sleep too much. It's making you avoid. It's getting you sad. It's getting you, chaotic. It's guilt, rejection, fear. There's all this. People are, not going to be friends with me. And your head can literally run on a marathon. And when that head goes on a marathon, it's a really, really, really brutal place to be. You know the ones, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. So please connect with me, and I'll help you through the stuff that you're going through. So my question is, are you a knob if you dob? Are you a knob if you dob? The truth is, it makes no difference. It's what feels right for you with the circumstances you have right here, right now. You make decisions that feel right for you. Tomorrow you might make a different decision. Yesterday you might make a different decision. You have to live with the decision you make. So, do you dob people in or not? Do you dob people in or not? Thank you for joining me. If you like this, I would love to know what your favorite tip was. And if you've got a tip yourself that I forgot or didn't share, let me know. That would be super inspiring. So that's me, Debs Cooper, Global Stressologist, signing off for today's video. Do you dob people in or not? Thanks for joining me. I will see you on the next video. Bye.